Cuphead is a game that's become famous for its crazy, over-the-top boss fights, beautiful hand-drawn animations. While yes, some bosses can be very fun, and some not really so much, but that's not really the point. In this video, I will be ranking every single Cuphead boss from worst to best, but I will not be ranking the DLC bosses because I don't want to. I'll be ranking them on these factors: enjoyment and fun factor. Without further ado, let's get started.
A brawl is surely brewing. And begin!
Number 19, Goopy Legrand. Goopy Legrand ranks at the very bottom of the main game for one simple reason: he's just not that interesting. While he's perfectly fine as an early game boss and does a decent job at teaching Cuphead's core mechanics, he lacks the depth, spectacle, and creative flair that almost every other boss in the game delivers. His attacks are basic and pretty repetitive: a punch, a bounce, a big jump. And once you've seen them, there's nothing else to look forward to. His second phase is really just the same fight with a little bit more speed, and even his final phase, where he becomes a giant gravestone, still doesn't add anything exciting or surprising to the encounter. But that does not to say that Goopy is terrible. He's actually charming and goofy in that classic 1930s cartoony way. With his silly grins and exaggerated movements, he's great for beginners and has some personality. But once you've played Cuphead enough, Goopy becomes that boss that you beat once and you rarely think about again. In a game where you can almost every boss is memorable and wild, Goopy is simply outclassed, fun for about 30 seconds, then forgotten forever. Number 18, the Root Pack. The Root Pack lands near the bottom because while extremely iconic as the first boss many players ever fight, the encounter itself is very simple and doesn't evolve enough to remain memorable. Each vegetable, the potato, the onion, and the carrot, has a cute personality and fun animations, but mechanically they don't do much beyond basic projectiles and predictable patterns. The potato spits out dirt clumps, the onion cries tears, and the carrot fires homing missiles, but none of these attacks push the player in interesting or demanding ways once they understand basic dodging. The fight succeeds brilliantly as a tutorial. It teaches the players how Cuphead bosses work, while to read the animations, and how to move with intention. But compared to the wild creativity later in the game, the Root Pack is more of a warm-up exercise than really a big boss fight. Its aesthetic is charming, but the music is cheerful, and its humor is on point, but the lack of evolving mechanics makes it a boss most players breeze through and never to return to. It's good, but in Cuphead terms, good isn't enough to climb higher. Baroness von Bonbon. Baroness von Bonbon ranks low, not because she lacks creativity. In fact, her Candyland theme and bright, chaotic visuals are some of the most memorable in Isle 2. But because the fight can feel inconsistent, unpolished, and occasionally unfair, her RNG minion phases mean that each attempt can vary drastically in difficulty, meaning the fight feel less like a test of skill and more of a test of luck. Some candy enemies are super manageable, while others create messy overlap with the environmental hazards like jelly beans on the ground, leading to some frustrating deaths. You do not know how many times I died on this boss. The overall presentation is absolutely fantastic, with its Candyland parody, walking gumdrops, peppermint guards, and her final castle top chase. But the mechanics don't measure up to the visuals. Her attacks often blend into the noisy background, and the pacing of the fight feels choppy rather than smooth. Despite this, the Baroness is incredibly memorable for her personality, charm, and setting. She just falls short mechanically. She's a fight you appreciate for its world building, not its gameplay. Next up on the list is Bebby the Clown. He lands in the lower third of the ranking because although he has an incredibly creative concept and great presentation, the actual gameplay fluctuates widely between fun, chaotic, and downright annoying. His carnival-themed aesthetic is unforgettable. Bumper cars, balloon dogs, roller coasters, and amusement park madness everywhere. It's super crazy. However, the fight suffers from inconsistent visibility, surprise hazards that don't feel too punishing, and several attacks that don't telegraph clearly enough, like the ducks in the first phase. The roller coaster can come screaming in at bad times, and the balloon dogs sometimes blend visually with the background or elements, making certain runs feel cheap or random. but Beppy is still fun. His animations are expressive, the circus music fits perfectly, and the energy of the fight is chaotic in a good way, and if you enjoyed fast-paced battles. The reason he doesn't rank higher is because of the randomness and visual clutter. He can turn what should be a thrilling cartoonish showdown into a frustrating experience, especially on repeat playthroughs. He's memorable, but not always in the best ways. We are taking it to the skies with Hildeberg, number 15. Hildeberg ranks here because while she has one of the most visually striking and imaginative fights in the early game, the chaotic nature of her attacks can make the experience feel more overwhelming than satisfying. As the first plane boss in the game, she throws a lot of new players. Tornadoes, blimps, laugh attacks, crescent moons, and a barrage of projectiles that fill the screen. Her transformations are fantastic to watch, especially the Zodiac-themed phases that change in the pace and the tone of the fight. But sometimes those phases feel too unpredictable on first attempts. The visual clutter can make it difficult to track enemy shots, and her constant movement keeps pressure high. However, she can still remain incredibly iconic because of her personality, her facial expressions, her dynamic screaming moon form, and the whole sky battle setup makes the fight one of Cuphead's most animated and lively moments. Also, I just wanted to point something out. What is she supposed to be? I get she's a blimp because she's named after Heidenberg, I get that. But, like, she's on a unicycle powering her blimp self, so this isn't making any sense. But she's great at helping players on edge, and she's full of style and energy. But the mixture of randomness and her screen-wide chaos keeps her from climbing higher in the ranking. Hilda is memorable, fun, and chaotic, but she's rarely the boss players go back for pure enjoyment. I'm definitely not going back to this fight. Number 14, folks, Cagney Carnation feels like a perfectly balanced mid-tier boss. Fun, stylish, and well-designed, but not quite special enough to push into the upper tiers. While yes, his music is phenomenal, probably the most overhyped inside of Cuphead, his environment is vibrant and full of personality with his waving petals, mischievous expressions, and his dancing, I guess. His attacks feel fair yet demanding. Seed pots scatter into miniature enemies, vines burst from the ground, and boomerang-style petals whip across the screen. He's a boss that requires rhythm, timing, and awareness, but once you figure out the pattern, the fight becomes very smooth and predictable. You can beat this guy in like 50 seconds. I'm being so serious, I've done it before. The real charm of Cagney is the presentation. The animations are crisp, the music is upbeat, as I said before, and the boss acts like a literal performer putting on a show. But in terms of overall excitement, Cagney leans more towards precision than chaos, which makes him feel mechanical after enough playthroughs. He's extremely polished, but not explosive or surprising enough to compete with the top-tier bosses. Still, he remains one of the most visually charming characters in the entire game. Rumor Honeybottoms. She appears this high because of her vertical honeycomb-based arena is one of the most unique experiences in Cuphead. The idea of climbing upward while dodging spells, B-cops, worker drones, and explosive projectiles in the first phase gives her fight a strong identity. No other boss plays quite like her. The problem is that her fight sometimes becomes too dependent on platform RNG, which can make certain runs feel unfair if the platforms spawn at awkward heights or angles. Dodging her spells become unnecessarily harder, especially during the Queen transformation phase. But despite these flaws, Rumor's creativity is undeniable. Her design is bold, her animations are clever, and the royal theme creates an atmosphere that stands out among the game's middle bosses. The boss kind of reminds me of the Bee movie, if you guys ever saw that. It's really good, I recommend you go check it out. Her courtroom-style attacks, her spellbooks, and her hammer transformation all add memorable flavor to the battle. Rumor Honeybottoms is frustrating, but she's frustrating in a fun and chaotic way. Chaotic enough to be entertaining, but inconsistent enough to keep her out of the top 10. We're taking it to the skies again, with number 12 being Wally Warbles. Oh dear lord. Wally Warbles earns this spot because his fight perfectly captures Cuphead's wild personality, mixing humor, chaos, and frantic bullet hell intensity. Like, I swear to god, this guy just spews out eggs on expert mode. I swear to god. Just play expert mode and you'll find out. As a bird stuck inside a giant birdhouse hospital, Wally attacks with eggs, feathers, and a barrage of floating mini-birds in the first and second phase, forcing players to constantly reposition and making lightning-fast decisions. His animations are insane, from his smug expression to the hilarious final phase, where he's strapped on a stretcher carried by nurses. The fight is full of energy and personality, making it one of the most memorable aerial battles in the game. However, the chaotic randomness of the fight keeps him from ranking even higher. The feathers in particular can overlap in tricky ways, making the fight feel more messy than skilled at times. But Wally remains a favorite for many players because of how fun and frantic the fight feels. You're always moving, which is great. Always dodging and always laughing at the absurdity of this giant unhinged bird. It's a great fight, but still has enough chaos to hold it back from elite status. Sorry, Wally, you're number 12. At number 11, we got Calamaria. Calamaria earns his position because her fight blends atmosphere, challenge, and visually creativity better than many mid-game bosses. The underwater setting is gorgeous, the animations are fluid and expressive, and every single phase of her battle is packed with personality. Like, the second phase is insane. I love how she just turns you into stone. From the eel-infested chaos, from the electric fish volleys into her unexpected transformation into a petrifying Gorgon. Or Medusa, I think. I don't know too much about lore like that. Anyways, her fight constantly shifts, keeping players on edge as they dodge homing ghosts, unpredictable fish patterns, and weird puffer fish. Fuck the puffer fish. Calamaria's biggest strength is that she never feels static. She forces players to adapt quicker, making the battle engaging from start to finish. However, this same unpredictability can sometimes work against her. There are moments where the overlapping projectiles and tight spaces feel borderline unfair. Like, seriously, why? Especially during her stone-headed phase, where even a moment of hesitation can spell disaster. But, despite the occasional frustration, Calamaria is one of the most visually enchanting and mechanically interesting bosses in Cuphead, mixing beauty and brutality in equal measure. She's the kind of boss you remember long after you beat her. Fun, challenging, and full of life. Also, many people gooned her, so there's that too. Now we are officially in the top 10. These are some of my favorite bosses, but only one can win. If you're enjoying the video so far, feel free to subscribe. It helps me out, and I really want to make more videos for you guys. Number 10, the Devil. The Devil has one of the most fun finales in video games because every phase feels epic, but still fair. The first phase is full of interesting patterns like the spider form, the goat form, and the snake attacks, all of which keep the fight really fun. The following section and the final phase against the giant head are flashy, dramatic, and satisfying to overcome, 100%. It's a fight that feels like a true final boss, but not in a frustrating way for some reason. It constantly stays fun because the patterns feel clean, and the pacing keeps you fully focused until the last hit lands. Moving on to number 9, we have King Dice. The actual fight with King Dice is surprisingly fun, because the mechanic is simple but intense. You basically just managing parries while being chased by a giant wall of cards. It's a short fight, but extremely satisfying once you get the timing down, because everything depends on your focus and precision. The tension makes it hype, and the victory is always rewarding, because you've earned it after dealing with as many bosses on Expert or regular mode. Seriously. He's not as flashy as other bosses like Hildeberg and Grim Matchstick, but the pure skill check makes him a fun one to replay for sure. At number 8, we got Captain Brinybeard. Brinybeard? I don't really know what to say. Brinybeard is fun because the fight is pure chaos in a good way. You're dodging the ship, the anchor, the eye, the projectiles, and the random sea creatures all at once, but somehow it still seems fair. The variety keeps the fight fresh every time you keep playing it, and the final phase where the ship starts attacking you is one of the coolest boss transitions. I just love how Captain Brinybeard just fell out of the ship, it's so funny. It's kind of the fight where once you get locked in, everything feels so smooth and fast. You can easily cheese the first phase with charge, I swear to God. Brinybeard is always a blast to replay. At number 7, we got the Phantom Express. The Phantom Express is one of the most fun boss fights because it mixes shooting with platform movement. Controlling the train cart adds a unique twist that makes every single phase feel like you're solving a puzzle, which is really cool. The skeleton, the eyeball ghost, the conductor, every enemy is memorable and has attacks that feel fair once you understand them. The ending where the chain traces you is one of the coolest finales in Cuphead because you keep moving, and it always feels hype. It's a creative fight that never gets old because no other boss in the game moves the arena like this one. At 6, we got Dr. Call's robot. Even though he's one of the hardest bosses in the entire game, Dr. Call is really fun once you get to stop getting overwhelmed and start learning each section piece by piece. The first phase is like a mini boss rush all by itself, but the reason it's fun is because it keeps you active and constantly reacting. The second phase with the laser walls and drones feels you like in pure chaos, but in a way that keeps you still locked in. By the time you get to the final heart phase, it feels like the ultimate test of your dodging skills. It's tough, but when you're playing well, this fight feels incredible to beat. At number 5, we got Verna. Verna is a simple but fun fight because the movement is clean and the phases feel different while still matching his theme. The first phase teaches you spacing and timing, the second phase with fire bombs pushes your dodging, and the final phase with the cat is just fun. Like, it reminds me of Cat in the Hat, I'm serious. The arena is pretty small, but it never feels cheap, and once you get the timing down, it becomes one of the most satisfying fights to perfect. Werner is a boss you can always come back to and enjoy without stress. So, W on Werner over there, guys. Now, people might call me crazy for doing this, so here we go. Number 4, Sally's stage play. Sally's fight is fun because every phase feels like a different scene in a play, which gives the battle a cool personality. The hazards are fair, the pacing is quick, and the dodging of the cherubs and props feels super smooth once you learn the patterns. Her last phase where she summons a giant angel is visually awesome, and the attacks feel fair enough to enjoy even though they're fast. She's one of those bosses that really get frustrating because everything is clear, readable, and stylish. Overall, she's a boss that you can grind without getting tired of her fight. I seriously love the play aesthetic. I think it looks really cool, and I'm so happy it kind of looks like a theater, because the visuals and the curtain keeps going down is really cool. I actually kind of like this fight. At number 3, we got everybody's favorite dragon, Grim Matchstick. Grim Matchstick is chaotic but extremely fun once you get the rhythm of the cloud platforms. While yes, the cloud platforms are very RNG based, it's still fun. His patterns force you to keep moving while still keeping track of the fireballs, minions, and his long tongue. His very long tongue. So in the fight always feels intense. The final phase with the flamethrowers chasing you is one of the most hype endings to any Cuphead boss, especially once you learn how to stay calm and dodge everything. It's a fight that rewards practice and feels great once you master the timing. Despite being tough, it's one of the most satisfying bosses to replay because every victory feels deserved. At number 2, we got Aladdin. Oh, wait, sorry, my bad. Wrong genie. I meant, Djimmi the Great. Djimmi is a long fight. And I mean by a long fight because he has 5 phases. But it's one of the most fun plane battles because of how many phases he throws at you. The puppet phase, the sarcophagus phase, the cats, and everything feels like a cool cartoon movement that matches his Cuphead vibe perfectly. The fight tests your movement, your dodging, your spacing, and especially your focus, because it never feels overwhelming once you learn it. Even though it's one of the longer bosses, it never gets boring because every phase feels like a new mini challenge. Overall, he's one of the most creative bosses of the game, and always fun to replay. Here we are, folks, we're finally at number 1. Can you guess what it is? It's the frog duo, the Ryu and Ken knockoffs, Ribby and Croaks. Ribby and Croaks are one of the most satisfying early game fights because every phase feels different while still being super fair. Their animations are clean, their patterns are readable, and the arena stays the same the whole time. So you get into a nice rhythm dodging their punches, fireflies, and the fan. I hate the fan. The slot machine phase might be the best part. It's hype, it's fast, and it keeps you on your toes without being frustrating. The fight gives you just enough challenge to keep you focused, but not so much that it becomes annoying. It's easily one of the most readable, oh my god, replayable bosses that the music absolutely carries it. So, yeah, that's my ranking. I really did hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really love ranking Cuphead stuff, and let me know what I should rank in Cuphead next, because you guys really seem to love me ranking my Cuphead stuff. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, folks.